What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Everybody that's about to hop on live. Everybody that is going to be rewatching this video. What is going on? Let's give people a chance to join. AG, what's good, bro? Angela, what's up? Mama Dukes, what's up? I know we have some technical difficulties. How's everybody doing? What's up, Angela? As you join, I want you to put in the comments something that you are excited about. What is something that you are excited about up and coming? Something you're excited about in life. Something you're excited about in life. Today's training is going to be super dope, right? Today, the topic is how to change your circumstance. How to change your circumstance. And the reason that this topic is so phenomenal is because I think the way that most people look at changing their circumstances is absolutely different than the actual way in order to change your circumstance. So we're going to be talking about how to change your circumstance. Well, before we talk about how to change your circumstance, you have to first have an understanding of what created the circumstance that you are in now. A lot of times people try to change something, but they don't know what created the thing that they currently have, right? So how do I change my life? Well, what created the life that you have right now? How do I change my mind? Well, what created the mindset that you have right now? Because it's like cooking, right? If I say that I want this dish to be better, well, I want to see first what created the dish that I now have. Because then I can figure out what ingredient to change in order to produce a different outcome. But in order to produce a different outcome, we first have to understand what produced the result that we currently have. So it's about how to change your circumstance, and then what are the ways in order to change your circumstance, but what created your circumstance now, and how is it that you could create a different circumstance for your life, right? Well, first of all, I want you to remember this. I said this before, is that your life is a reflection of your repetitive perception. Your life is a reflection of your repetitive perception. And the way that you perceive things, your perception is based off of your senses. What you see, hear, taste, touch, and smell, and what you see, hear, and feel being the three most important things. So let's talk about a product of your environment, right? Being a product of your environment means that you became the thing that you became the product of the environment that you were in. So you became what you repetitively see. The things that you saw growing up, you became that. The things that you heard, the way people talked, right? You became that. And on a subconscious level, the feeling that most people felt, you became that. So if you grew up in an environment where it was dangerous, right? And you felt the fear, you felt anxiety, you felt on edge, you felt like you always had to be protecting yourself. Well, later on in life, you're going to become that same type of person because that's the environment that you came from, right? If you came from an environment of everybody owning businesses and being CEOs, you'll likely become that. But if you come from an environment where people are in lack, most likely your life is going to reflect that. If you come from an environment where people were in the streets and drugs, most likely your life is going to reflect that. Not always, but most of the time. That's what being a product of your environment is. So the circumstances that you currently have right now is 100% based off of a few things. It's 100% based off of the choices and decisions that you've made up until this point. So your life looks like the decisions. It looks like a cumulative of all the decisions that you've made up until this point. All the choices that you've made up until this point. Your life is a direct reflection of that. Your life is a direct reflection of the thoughts that you think the most, the thoughts that you think about yourself and the thoughts that you think about other aspects of your life. Your life is a reflection of that. If you had it in your mind that making $10,000 a month was simple, most likely you'll be making $10,000 a month. If you had it in your mind that making $100,000 a month was simple, most likely you'll be making $100,000 a month. But if you have it in your mind like making $20 a month or making $20 an hour is a good job, making $25 an hour is a good job, then most likely you're going to be pursuing that aspect as well. So it's the thoughts that you think, right? It's the thoughts that you think. One of the biggest things that have been a blessing in my life is being around people who are earning significantly more than me, because it broadens my perspective. It's like what I made is like their worst case scenario. Like if they made how much I made in the last month, they'll be like, something has to change. So something that I'm excited about, they'll be like, this was my worst month. No way in hell I want to make that amount of money. Well, that extends my belief system, because in my belief system, it may be that what I made this month was difficult. Like, man, it's going to be difficult to make this in a month, to make 6 figures in a month. It's going to be really difficult. But for them, they're like, yo, that's a bad, I only made 20,000, 50,000, 100. That's a bad month for me. Right? So it's your life looks like the thoughts that you think the most. The thoughts that you think about things is a representation of the actions that you take towards that things. So you got to start expanding. You have to start expanding your thoughts in order to create a new circumstance for yourself. And the way you change your circumstances, you can't change your circumstances. You change your perception and your perspective of the circumstance. And when you change your perspective, the circumstance will change. You got to get that. You inherently don't change circumstances. You change your perspective about the circumstance. And when you change your perspective, the circumstance will 100% change. Most people, all people, you're never stuck in life. You're only stuck in your thoughts about life. Stuckness doesn't live in reality. Stuckness only lives in your thoughts and ideas. That's the only place it lives, is your thoughts and ideas. And when you start changing the thoughts and ideas that you have about things, your circumstance will 100% change. It cannot ever change. So one perspective could be, I was talking to one of my close friends, Steve Bacon. I want to shout him out because he said this and it changed everything for me. I was talking to him about everything I have going on, and I'm like, bro, like, man, this is the busiest I've ever been. Like, there's so much going on. I can't do these things. Like, this is the busiest I've ever been. It's difficult for me to stick to my habits. This, that, and that. Like, this is the busiest I've ever been. He said, Kusudi, where you're going in life, this is the calmest it will ever be in life again. And that changed my whole perspective. It changed my whole perspective. One perspective was, oh my God, this is the busiest I've ever been. And another perspective was, where you're headed in life, this will be the calmest it will ever be again. That changed my perspective. I'm like, damn, you're right. So this is simple. At this level in my life, I have more than enough time to do the things I need to do. I have more than enough time to master my habits. I have more than enough time to do my morning routine. I have more than enough time, because you're right. How can I say that I want to be speaking around the world, speaking in different countries, traveling around the world, but right now I'm at my home for 30 days, but I'm like, okay, it's difficult for me to get into that routine, but how do I expect myself to do it when I say I want to travel the world? That was a perspective change. With that perspective change, it made it simple in order to make the right adjustments in my life. Does that make sense? So my circumstance didn't change. I didn't get more time. I didn't free up my time. It's not where things came off of my plate. It's that my perspective about the circumstance changed. You want to ask yourself, what is the perspective that you have on life? What is the perspective that you have on your goals? What is the perspective that you have? It's like this. I just want you to understand this. It's like, if you have a perspective that you're going to make millions of dollars in your lifetime, right? If you have a perspective that you're 100% going to make millions, like in your lifetime, you're going to make millions of dollars, then why have the perspective of feeling anxious or worried or frustrated if you haven't learned how to get $25,000 a month? If you haven't learned how to get $50,000 a month? No, it's easy to say at some point, if I know I'm going to make millions of dollars in my life, at some point, right? $100,000 this month is $1.2 million a year. So if you have the perspective that no matter what, you're going to do over $1 million in a year at some point in your life, then it's only natural for you to figure out $20,000 a month. It's only natural and guaranteed for you to figure out how to get to $50,000 a month. It's only natural for you to figure out how to get to $100,000 a month. It's only natural. So why would I stress and worry about figuring it out? I'm like, at some point, I'm 100% going to figure it out. Like I know that I'm going to make millions. I know there's not a fiber in my body that questions it otherwise. So if I know like that, why would I ever question getting to $100,000 a month? I know that I'm going to have to figure out. Get it to 100. It's only natural. It's only the right steps in the process in order to get through more. Does that make sense? So you have to have a perspective that empowers you where you are right now. You have to create a new perspective. When you create a new perspective, it would change the circumstance that you're in. You can say right now, oh, it's difficult doing everything myself, but it's going to be way more difficult handling a team of 50 people, managing a team of 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, 50 people, than it is doing things yourself. I promise you. When you have that perspective, doing things by yourself, it makes it simple. So in order to change your circumstances, you must change your perspective about the circumstances. Stop trying to change it. Stop trying to change your money by going to get a better job. Stop trying to change your financial situation by just going to start a new business. How many businesses have you started right now? Just ask yourself, how many LLCs do you really have? And how much is each one making? Are they flourishing, or you just keep opening up multiple LLCs? Why are you doing that? Stick to one and figure it out. Stick to one and change it. It's not going to be opening up a new business that's going to get you there. I mean, so many people that have multiple LLCs and none of them are flourishing. Right? Change your perspective about it. Change your perspective about it. If you have an idea of your business being a global business, then instead of saying, oh my God, I can't figure it out, change your perspective. I have to figure it out. It's only natural that I figure it out. It's only right that I figure it out. Figuring out is literally just a natural order of things. It's just the next step. So if I know that God has given me a vision that my business will be global, then why would I think that in that vision is not me taking the next step? So it's like, if you see a seed and you can look at the seed but you can look at the finished product of a tree, it's only natural for that tree to grow. It's only natural for it to start as a small little thing breaking out of the ground. Then it's only natural for one branch to form. Then it's only natural for it to grow a little higher and another branch to form. Most people believe in the end goal, but doubt the steps. I want you to catch that. Don't have so much conviction over the end goal, but you have so much doubt on the steps in order to get there. The steps are natural. If you truly believe that you're going to make the impact that is on your spirit, then you must truly believe in the steps that it takes in order to get there. This is what occurs, is that when it's the end goal, it's purely a vision. When it's steps, you start getting focused on and caught up on how. And how creates doubt. If you're not careful, how creates doubt. And that's where most people go wrong. And that's why most people, the circumstances that they're in right now, it doesn't really look different than the year before. I promise you guys this. Listen to me. Every single year, my life looks radically different than the year before. Radically different. I don't make incremental progress in my life. I make quantum leaps in my life. Quantum leaps. I mean, if I just went through this year, my life is way differently right now. Way differently. The opportunities is way different. The conversations is way different. The money is everything is way different than what it was just at the beginning of this year, let alone a year ago. My life looks radically different every year by year. because I believe in the vision, but I also believe in myself to make the steps. So if I'm starting out this business and we have a vision of doing 10, 20, 30 millions of dollars, I have to believe in my ability to get ourselves to the first million. I can't question, oh my God, can I really figure this out? I can't question myself. I don't care if I've never done, I can't question. I have to believe that I can do it. I must believe I can do it. You must believe in yourself. You must believe in the steps. If you want to change your circumstances, notice what are the next steps in order to change it and believe in those steps. Believe in the steps. Don't just believe in the vision. Believe in the journey to get there. And when you start finding the truth, the perspective of most empowerment, I want you to write that down. What is the perspective of most empowerment? Just find a perspective that empowers you. I mean, I just create random shit to find. Like, I just find random shit. If I look at myself and I'd be like, if I'm ever doubting myself as a CEO, I'll be like, Mark Cuban was broke until he was 34 and he's a billionaire. I'm 29 and I got more emotion than Mark Cuban had when he was 29. That perspective will empower me. Like, you gotta find a perspective. He was broke when he was 29. I got motion. I'm not broke. I got motion. So I'm doing better than Mark Cuban right now. I could become a billionaire. Like, you gotta just find a perspective. You gotta find something that empowers you. You gotta find something that empowers you. Like something in this world has to empower you. Some perspective has to empower you. Because that's the only way you're going to change the circumstances that you're in. It's just most people, they try to change their circumstances with the same perspective. And Albert Einstein said, you can't solve a problem at the same level of consciousness that created the problem. So if your circumstances right here and your level of consciousness is the same that created the circumstance because you haven't done anything differently, how are you can't solve the problem at the same level of consciousness that created it. Excuse me. What has to occur is your level of consciousness have to raise. You want to know another way to say that? Your perspective has to shift. Your perspective has to expand. Your level of awareness has to expand. Because once you're up here, it's so much easier to look down here and change it. So you want to say, what is the perspective that I have on things? What is the perspective I have on life? What are the limitations, right? What are the limitations? You may think it takes 10 years to do something that it'll take a year. It's just your perspective is telling you it's going to take that long. You have to change your perspective. Change your perspective, you change your life. Change your perspective, you change your life. You got to start thinking new thoughts. You got to use your senses. You got to start seeing new different things. You want to change your perspective? Go and experience new environments. When I was living in my city, every week, there was an exotic car dealership on 96 and Keystone called Exotic Exports, one of those. Every weekend, I'll go and look at the cars. I'll go touch the Bentley, touch the Rolls Royce, touch the Lamborghini, get inside of it, feel the leather every single weekend. Why? Because in the environment I was at, I didn't see that. I didn't grow up seeing Bentleys and Rolls Royces. I think in my city, on the actual street, I think I've seen one Rolls Royce my whole life. Definitely not a Lamborghini. I didn't see a Lamborghini in person until I go up to the car dealership or actually driving really until I'm visiting other cities. I live in LA. I live in New York. But I didn't see a Lamborghini in my city. No. So, and if I wanted my circumstances to be different, I had to put myself in a different environment. So when I go up to these places, when I go to the exotic car dealership, I don't have the money. But guess who do have the money? The other people that are looking there, the other people that are looking at the cars. So that's the opportunity for me to talk to them. That's the opportunity for me to pick their brain quickly. That's the opportunity to potentially ask for mentorship. My mom used to take us to open houses when we were younger. We'll go to houses that we couldn't afford, but what? We're seeing something differently. It's changing my circumstances because I'm changing my perspective. When I go to a new open house, I may look back and say, "Oh my God, this is a bigger house. This house got a pool. We didn't have a pool. This house has a pool. That's possible to have a pool." It's changing my perspective over the circumstances. When you travel, why do you think I travel so much? Literally, I just came from Mexico. I'm going right back to Mexico on Friday. I just came from Mexico 3 days ago, just to Minnesota for business for a week. And I'll be going right back to Mexico for another 2 months. I just spent the last month there. Why? Because it's different. It's changing my perspective. I'm experiencing new experiences. I'm seeing a different way of life. I'm seeing a different way of thinking. If you want to change your circumstances, you must change your perspective. And when you change your perspective, the situation will change. It's only the way that you perceive the circumstances that is keeping you experiencing that exact same circumstance. I mean, you gotta look. I just told my little brother this the other day. He was talking about his money. I said, I want you to understand, this is the brokest you will ever be again. I mean, like, this is, you would never not have as much money as you have, like, not now. This is the brokest you will ever financially be again. You know how empowering that is? You know, right now, if you're watching this and you don't have the finances that you desire, instead of saying, "Oh my God, I don't have the money. I'm broke, I'm poor, I don't have the money," change your perspective. This is the most financially broke I will ever be in my life again. Do you see how differently doesn't that get you excited? Doesn't it get you optimistic? Doesn't it provide a positive expectation for something to happen in your mind? Instead of saying, "Oh my God, I'm poor," this is the poorest I'll ever be again. I will never be this poor again. That one change, can you feel like if you said that to yourself, "Oh, I'm poor right now," to where I'll never be this poor again. This is the poorest I'll ever be again. It changes your vibrational state. And when you change your vibrational state, you change the thoughts that you think. When you change the thoughts that you think, you change the person that you are. When you change the person that you are, you change the things that you attract. When you change the things that you attract, you change the reality that you experience. It changes fucking everything. When you change your perspective, it changes everything. If you don't like your health, say, "This is the most out of shape I will ever be in my life again." If you don't like your finances, say, "This is the poorest I'll ever be again." If you don't like how happy, say, "This is the most non-happy I will ever, this is the saddest. This is the most fresh I will ever be again in my life." And from this day forward, I choose to be something differently. Your whole situation would change if you took on that perspective. It would change everything. Now, I'm not telling you what perspective to choose. Only thing I invite you to is to choose in a perspective that is most empowers you. Because literally your life depends on it. Because the life that you have is created by the perspective that you keep the most. The perspective that you believe. The perspective that you live into the most. You change your perspective, you change your whole life. That's how you change your circumstances. You change who you are. You change the way you look at things. This like asking, how can the sun be brighter? The sun's not dim. You just have glasses on. Take the fucking glasses off. Take your glasses off and you'll see the sun for what it is. The sun didn't change. Your perspective of the sun changed. You took your sunglasses off. Take your sunglasses of life off. Take the limiting viewpoint off. Take the defeatism off. Take the victimhood off. Take the helplessness off. Take the doubt off. Take the fear off. And see life for as extraordinary as it is right where you are in this moment. And the more that you can notice it, the more that it will create more of itself. But whatever you notice, it creates more of itself. It multiplies. So my only gauge for myself to ask myself, do I want to focus on this, is do I want to continue to experience this? That's the only thing I ask myself. Anytime is, it's not about should I focus on it or not, is do I want to experience this or not? If I don't want to experience it, I'm not going to put my awareness or focus on it. Put your awareness and focus on the things that you want to experience. Find a perspective that empowers you the most. If you're 40 years old and you're not living your dreams, have a perspective that Colonel Sanders didn't start KFC till he was 53. And I'm 40, so I got more than enough time. If you're 30 and you feel broke, have the perspective that Mark Cuban didn't start business until he was 34 years old. And you're 30 years old starting business, so you're ahead of Mark Cuban. Just find whatever empowers you the most. Whatever empowers you the most, find that. Oh, I'm worried about, just remember, in last season, you were worried about how you were going to pay rent. And now you may not have as much money as you want to, but thank God you're not worried about that anymore. Find the perspective that empowers you. There's always a more empowering perspective available to you right now in this moment, I promise you. I appreciate y'all. This week is shorter. I've been back to business. I wanted to just get on here and give y'all some quick value. Any questions before I hop off? Any questions? You want to know my perspective coming into this live? One perspective is, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I literally hopped out of a meeting and came straight to this all day since 8 a.m., 7 a.m. But another perspective is, oh my God, I'm glad that I have so much value to give away. I'm happy I have so much value to give away. Somebody right now is going to take this value and they can ultimately change their life. Kusudi, if I just give 20 values, I could change somebody's life. That perspective, it brought me to this call. It changed everything. One perspective is, oh my God, I'm tired. I've been busy all day. Another perspective is 20 minutes could change somebody's life. And 20 minutes is not going to change me in any type of way. It's not going to disrupt my day. It's 20 minutes. But 20 minutes to somebody else could change their life. I appreciate y'all. Next Monday, 5 p.m. It'll be a longer live. I'll be going in deeper. Where I'll be? Yeah, I'll be in Mexico, so I'll have more time. Hop on. Deborah, what's up? You're more than welcome. Angela, appreciate y'all. Kai, appreciate y'all. It's good seeing everybody. I will see y'all next Monday at 5 p.m., the exact same time. I will see y'all all there. Peace, y'all. Have a phenomenal day.